Are you feeling the effects of AI burnout? That tired, overwhelmed feeling from trying to keep up with every new text-to-video, text-to-music, or text-to-everything tool? You're not alone. I'm Nerdy Neuron, and this is Neural Reflections, slow thoughts for fast times, exploring AI, productivity, and internet culture. Today, our podcast hosts Maya and Jay dig into why AI burnout is so common, what it really feels like, and how you can reclaim your focus and peace of mind. Let's dive in. Over to Maya and Jay.
Welcome to another deep dive. You know, if you've been feeling like you're trying to drink from a fire hose lately, especially with all the AI stuff, tools, updates, just this endless stream of must-try apps, and maybe feeling a bit, worn out by it all, you're definitely in the right place today. We're diving into a topic that seems to be hitting a lot of people, AI burnout. We've got one main source guiding us here. It's a case study titled AI Burnout, a case study. And our mission really is to unpack this study, try to understand why this overwhelm is happening, and figure out how you can cut through all that noise to find what's actually valuable. And to help navigate this, I'm joined by our expert guide.
Thanks. Yeah, this case study is particularly useful because it doesn't just state the problem exists. It really tries to dig into the why. Like it says, that this burnout, it isn't just some natural result of having more AI tools around. No, it's really tied tightly to the constant pressure from companies, from content creators, social media. It's all connected. So yeah, our goal is to pull out those key insights from the research, help you understand the hype cycle you might be caught in, and more importantly, find some practical ways to get some clarity back. Focus on what actually matters for you.
Okay, let's definitely unpack that. So the study kicks off by saying AI burnout is, it's a growing thing. And it puts the spotlight squarely on this relentless push from, like you said, companies, YouTube, social media. It describes it as this constant flow of promotions, right? New tools, new trends, new features. It feels like you barely finish reading about one thing and bam, 3 more just flood your feed.
Exactly. And a really crucial distinction this study makes is between genuine innovation and, just noise. It does note that, sure, some companies are pushing boundaries with AI, doing really cool stuff, but then many others are just sort of repackaging existing tools, adding minor tweaks maybe, or just slapping an AI-powered label on something that isn't fundamentally new. And that makes it incredibly hard for anyone to figure out what's actually valuable versus what's just marketing hype trying to grab your attention.
Right. So it's not just the sheer number of tools, it's how they're presented. Everything sounds like the next big thing all the time. And the pressure points are kind of everywhere, aren't they? The study mentions this, hitting you on your feed, in your inbox, and even in workplace chats. You open LinkedIn, check your email, glance at Slack, and there's another notification, another article, maybe a colleague sharing the latest game changer.
And that constant influx, that barrage of information and promotion, it feeds directly into the symptoms of burnout that the case study talks about. So what does that actually feel like for someone caught up in this? The research suggests that it often shows up as feeling anxious, always jumping to the next must-have app, or just that nagging thought that you're falling behind every time a new tool drops. It's that kind of persistent, low-level anxiety, that you're missing out on something vital, or that the tool you just started learning, it's already old news.
Yeah, that feeling, like trying to catch a train that's perpetually pulling away from the platform, always feeling like you're just one step behind. You try one thing, maybe put some real time into it, and then an hour later you see some influencer just raving about something else, promising it's even faster or even better.
And that's exactly where the whole content ecosystem around AI really pours fuel on the fire. The study specifically points to social media, platforms like YouTube, with that kind of content. Top 10 AI tools you need now. Or maybe this app will replace your job. You've seen those. These titles aren't just trying to be informative. They're often designed very deliberately to create urgency, to leverage FOMO, that fear of missing out. Companies know this works. They use that exact tactic to drive signups, clicks, engagement, even if, as the study notes, the tool isn't truly new or helpful for your specific situation.
Right. You feel almost obligated to click because the stakes sound so incredibly high. What if this is the tool that finally unlocks everything for me?
Which, unfortunately, often just locks you right into that exhausting loop this study describes so well. Subscribe, try, compare, and repeat until it's exhausting. You find yourself signing up for beta lists, downloading apps you don't really need yet, starting free trials left and right, spending hours watching reviews, tutorials, comparing feature lists, features that maybe aren't even relevant to what you actually need to do. So you're pouring all this energy into the process of tool evaluation instead of actually using any tool to get something done.
Okay, this is where the case studies example of Tasha really hits home. It feels very relatable. She's a project manager, right? But her big goal is to become a YouTube creator, and she wants to use AI tools to help her get there. That seems like a super common scenario right now. Lots of people exploring AI for, a creative project or maybe a side hustle.
Yeah, her story perfectly shows how easily you can get caught up. The study details how Tasha starts off doing sensible things like buying courses on video editing, SEO, even AI content creation. Makes sense.
Oh.
But then she starts subscribing to a lot of AI tools. The study actually lists examples: text-to-video generators, voiceover tools, thumbnail creators, analytics dashboards. That's already a pretty big tech stack to learn and manage effectively, right?
And the pressure just doesn't let up on her. The study highlights this, saying each week, YouTube influencers and emails promise a new must-try tool or shortcut. So even though she might already have tools for each part of her workflow, she's constantly getting these messages suggesting hers aren't good enough or that this shiny new thing is absolutely essential.
And this directly drives her behavior. According to the study, she ends up sinking hours into watching tutorials for new apps, signing up for more beta programs, and chasing those really compelling, make $1,000 this week with AI videos. We've all seen those too. But here's the crucial point the study makes. Instead of spending her time actually using the tools she has to, create her YouTube videos, focusing on her content, her message, her unique story, she's bogged down in testing features, comparing platforms, and troubleshooting tech issues.
So the tools, the things that were supposed to help her, they actually become the main focus of her work. The act of just managing and evaluating all these tools starts consuming all her time and mental energy.
Precisely. And the result, it's classic burnout. The study notes exactly that. The pressure builds. She feels like she's falling behind. Her videos aren't viral, and the tools aren't making it easier. See, the expectation was that these tools would somehow fast-track her success. But the reality is the sheer effort of managing the overwhelm actually slows her down, which then leads to anxiety and frustration when those big results she was hoping for just don't happen.
So that initial excitement, the fun of exploring AI, it just gets replaced by this feeling of stress, inadequacy, and constantly chasing the next shiny object. The case study seems pretty clear about what was really holding Tasha back, doesn't it? It wasn't like she lacked potential or had a bad idea for her channel.
No, not at all. The research concludes pretty directly that what's really holding Tasha back isn't lack of AI, it's overload, FOMO, and never picking one direction. She's just trying to do too much, try too many things at once, constantly influenced by all that external pressure, instead of really focusing on her core task, mastering maybe just a few key resources to actually achieve her goal.
Which brings us right to the critical question the study poses. How can Tasha break the cycle and actually make YouTube work for her? And maybe more importantly for everyone listening, how can you break free from this feeling of constant overwhelm, this endless chase?
Yeah, and the study does offer some really actionable strategies to fight back against this AI burnout. It makes a transition by asking, so how can Tasha and the rest of us get back to clarity? And the very first piece of advice it gives sounds simple, but it's actually profoundly difficult in today's environment. Stop chasing everything.
Okay, yeah. Easier said than done when that fire hose feels like it's aimed right at your face. But how does the study suggest we actually do that, practically?
Well, it introduces this really helpful framework. It calls it the rule of threes. Now, this isn't some rigid law, right? It's more like a principle, a guideline to help you focus. It suggests three things. First, pick just 3 tools to focus on for any one project. So if you need something for writing, 1 for images, 1 for editing, maybe that's your 3 for this specific project, not 10 different options for each task. Second, limit yourself to 3 main learning goals or prompts at a time. If you're trying to learn AI, maybe focus on mastering 3 core skills, not 50. If you're brainstorming, stick to maybe 3 main prompts you're really working on. And third, give yourself 3 hours to go deep, not wide, before moving on. Actually allocate some focused time, really explore those 3 tools or goals properly. instead of just skimming the surface of dozens of things.
That gives you some tangible boundaries, doesn't it? It shifts the whole mindset. Moving from just reacting to every single notification, every new trend, towards making deliberate choices based on what you actually need, what your goals are. The study also really emphasizes this internal shift, right? Moving away from all that external pressure.
It absolutely does. It advises very directly, don't feel pressured to adopt every new trend. Now, it does encourage experimenting and learning. That's always valuable, but it makes this crucial distinction. Don't let FOMO drive you. You need to ask yourself, are you trying this tool because it genuinely solves a problem you have right now? Or are you just afraid you'll get left behind if you don't jump on the bandwagon?
So it's really about building intention back into how you explore these things. The advice is basically, do your research, pick what truly fits your goals, and let go of the rest. That last part, letting go of the rest, that feels kind of liberating, actually. Like giving yourself permission not to be an expert on every single AI tool or trend that pops up.
Absolutely. And the study frames this focus, this intentionality, as having real significant value in itself. It contrasts that constant chase, that endless comparison to other people's highlight reels, with the actual payoff of focused effort. It puts it nicely. Your mental clarity, focus, and enjoyment are worth more than any AI hack. The real win isn't about having the biggest collection of tools. It's about achieving your goals effectively with less stress.
That's a really powerful reframe. It brings you back to why you started looking into AI in the first place, right? Probably to make things easier or maybe more creative. Definitely not to add another layer of anxiety to your life. The study wraps up this section with a thought that I think really resonates in our always-on, hyper-connected world.
Yeah, it concludes with this idea that sometimes the bravest thing is to close a few tabs, turn off notifications, and put your energy into finishing one thing well. You know, in a world that's constantly pushing for more, faster, newer, choosing focus, choosing completion, that's actually a conscious act of resistance against the overwhelm.
Right.
So just to sum up the core insights from this case study on AI burnout, that feeling of exhaustion so many are experiencing, it isn't just about the tech being everywhere. It's significantly driven by, well, the relentless marketing and the sheer volume of content pushing new tools, often making it hard to see what's genuinely useful through all the hype.
Right. And the key message seems really clear. It's not only okay, but it's actually necessary for both your mental health and your actual productivity to just slow down sometimes. Be more strategic about what you engage with. Be selective about the tools you actually adopt, and actively, consciously create boundaries against all that constant noise.
Exactly. The ultimate takeaway from this study, I think, is that AI should serve you. It's meant to be a tool, right? Something that makes your life or work better. Something you control and use deliberately, based on your goals. It kind of loses its value and frankly becomes a source of stress when the algorithms or the influencers or the marketing messages start dictating your actions instead.
So maybe think about that rule of threes we talked about from the study. How could applying that principle even loosely change how you approach learning new AI tools? Or maybe how you start your next project, or even just how you manage your inbox and social media feeds. How can you inject a bit more intention into your relationship with this, let's face it, rapidly changing landscape?
Yeah, and maybe consider that final thought from the study too. What's one single project or task, or even a learning goal you're working on right now that's perhaps stalled or just suffering a bit because you keep getting distracted by the pressure to explore the next new thing? What tab could you close right now? What newsletter could you maybe unsubscribe from? Or what notification could you turn off? You have to put your energy back into finishing that one thing well.
And hey, if you've experienced this kind of AI overwhelm or burnout yourself, or if you've found strategies that really help you manage this constant flood of information, we'd genuinely love to hear from you. Sharing your own experiences helps build a community where we can all figure out how to navigate this challenge together.
Thanks for diving deep with us into this case study today. It's an important topic.
It really is. And thank you, as always, for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
And that's a wrap. Thank you, Maya and Jay, for leading such an honest conversation about AI burnout. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your own experiences or tips in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to subscribe to Neural Reflections for more thoughtful takes on tech, productivity, and internet culture. Thanks for listening. This is Nerdy Neuron, signing off. Until next time, keep your signal clear and your thoughts even clearer.